The following program is made possible with the support of Diana Corbett with Century 21 Sawyer and Associates, Hendrick Toyota Scion of Wilmington, Papa John's Pizza, Port City Daily, and WILM.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. You can check out all my high school athletics coverage each and every day at PortCityDaily.com. And don't forget to tune into my radio show Mondays at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on 103.7 FM. This week, we're talking with the 4 girls varsity coaches across New Hanover County. Leading off the top of the lineup is Ashley girls basketball coach Adrienne Gale. Coach, always good to see you.
Good to you.
Heading into crunch time in the Mid-Eastern Conference schedule. 2 games left for most teams in the league. 1 game left for the Laney Lady Bucks. We'll catch up with Coach Tynes in a minute. But for the Screaming Eagles, kind of right in the middle of the pack in the standings right now. 2 games to go in conference. Before we get to that, I guess, it's kind of, as we head down the stretch, one last time to really take a look at some of our upperclassmen, specifically our seniors. You have a pair of seniors for the Screaming Eagles this year, starting with Jada Backus, a girl who has aspirations to play college basketball. Why don't you just share some thoughts on some of your, upperclassmen this year?
Okay, Jada Backus has moved from more of a 2-guard, 3-guard position to a point guard for us this year. So it's a little bit of adjustment for her at first, but I think now she's kind of feeling her groove, still being able to get some shots off and also control the offense.
Well, I think with Jada, too, one of the more athletic players across the county and the region, really, and I think that's what probably some of those college coaches look at is her upside with that ability, her length and her athleticism to move up and down the floor.
Yeah, I mean, she's got great speed. I think sometimes she's a little too quick for her own good. And, I think that's where in college they understand that because that's something you really can't teach. You can improve it a little bit, but you can't teach it. So, but they can work with her ball handling and, whatever else that she needs to be that maybe true 1 or even a 2-guard if, whatever college might want her for that. So, she's been great on the offensive end for us. We're working on more consistency, and of course with defense, just her ability to get the balls. Her length is just so hard for these girls to pass through. So that's helped us a lot.
Well, going from kind of the seniors and, what is going to be the past soon enough with a couple of weeks to go in the season, heading through the playoffs, of course. Now you look to kind of the future. You have a lot of youth on the team this season. Dana Craig, a big down low for you, sophomore. Lola Lovett has come on strong, a freshman for you, scored 21 points the other night. So the future kind of does look bright for the Ashley girls basketball program.
Yeah, we lose 2, and they're a tough 2 to lose, but we are very young this year. That's a good thing and a bad thing. So in the future, we have a little bit of size still with Dana and China. China's a junior, so we're looking forward to that. And then also with the emergence of Lola as a shooting guard, and who knows, we might have to move her into a different role next year. But we have a lot of youth on the bench that'll be ready to help out.
So a lot of moving pieces right now for the team. But with that said, before we fast forward to the future, we do have some games to go. A couple of games left this week, going through the rest of the regular season schedule. Then we get to the Mid-Eastern Conference Tournament next week down at Brunswick Community College. Like I mentioned at the top, kind of right in the middle of the pack right now. What are your expectations, or what's your mission here in the last week of the season?
Consistency. And we thought we did a little bit better job Friday. We played 3 solid quarters compared to Tuesday, where we had 2 decent ones against Hoggart, the 3rd and 4th, where we just had a bad first half, but that made the difference. That's where we had 11 turnovers and they capitalized on our points, etc. But played pretty even, I think exactly even with them in the second half. And then on Friday night we had 3 solid quarters and 1 down quarter. So we're looking for some more consistency with defense and offense as we move forward.
Well, you'll wrap up, the home schedule early this week, and then you'll head down to West Brunswick for the regular season finale against the Trojans. But with that said, when you get to the conference tournament next week, that begins on Monday, you play so many teams so many times, your familiarity with the coaches and what they like to do. How hard is it or difficult is it to, get yourself and the team geared up again and refocused, ready to kind of take on the same opponent again and again and again?
Yeah, well, I think we're kind of used to that. I think that one year Laney and I played, we played each other 5 times, I believe. So, you're bound to see your in-town rivals more than just your regular conference games. So, you just kind of have to maybe throw out a different look some way in either the offense or defensive end, and just kind of go in with a clean focus. Don't worry about what happened, but look at the positives and try to build on those for the next time that you see them.
Well, you get into that conference schedule too. If you do happen to advance to the finals, you play basically 3 games in 5 days. Does that bode well for a team like yours, or do you prefer the more of a stretch between matchups?
It depends. Sometimes it's good to have the practices, but this time of the year, it's time to play.
Right.
So, I mean, you're kind of, even this week's nice with playing Tuesday, Thursday. It's like practice game. So you just ready to roll, and that'll lead us into hopefully the conference tournament and then playoffs.
I always like this last week of the season as well because I finally get a Friday night
Yeah, there
off.
you go.
Yes. Ashley girls basketball coach Adrienne Gale here on the Sports Roundtable. Coach Gale, always a pleasure and good luck the rest
Thanks,
of the
Joe.
way.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break here on the Sports Roundtable. We'll catch up with Laney girls basketball coach Sherry Tynes right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. This week, talking with our girls basketball coaches from Ashley, Laney, New Hanover, and Hoggard. Up next is Laney girls basketball coach Sherry Tynes. And coach, heading into crunch time right now in the Mid-Eastern Conference schedule, gearing up for that conference tournament and hopefully a playoff berth for the Lady Bucks.
Well, we sure hope so. We've got 14 wins right now, and if what has happened in the past holds true, we think we've got enough wins under our belt, hopefully, to get an at-large bid into the state playoffs. And certainly, we're also looking down the road to the conference tournament with some high hopes and expectations there as well.
Well, before we get to maybe the expectations and the outlook moving forward through the last week of the regular season and then into that conference tournament next week down at Brunswick Community College, I want to give a little shout out to the upperclassmen, the seniors that put in a lot of work each and every year, and this is kind of the culmination of their high school basketball career. You have a trio of seniors this season. Why don't you share a little bit about them, what they've meant to the team this year and in past years?
Well, all 3 young ladies, Charlene Thompson, Hannah Key, and Taylor Morley, have made a huge impact on our program, and each of them in different ways. We talked to our kids about the importance of roles, and each kid has a role. Not everybody gets all the minutes, not everybody gets all the fame and the newspaper write-ups and stuff, but everybody on our team is very important. And Charlene has been our defensive stopper through the years. She's been in the program for 4 years. And we can always go to her. She'll guard the quickest, she'll guard the tallest, she'll guard the widest. She gets that job appointment just about every game, and just does a really great job for us defensively, rebounding. And through the years has become a small threat for us offensively. She can hit the short 10-foot baseline jump shots, hit a few threes for us this year. So, she's done a great job for us. Taylor Morley, she's been in the program for 4 years. Hard worker, probably one of the hardest workers we have on the team. Great role model for all of our kids, great role model outside of basketball, great student. She's going on to college next year and will certainly have a very bright future. Hannah Key as well has been in the program, has done a good job for us, works very hard, is also a good leader with the kids, on the younger kids, and also in the classroom. And she'll go on and continue her athletic career playing softball, it looks like, and as well with Charlene will also be playing softball in college. So, all 3 of them have a very bright future, and we owe a lot to them for all the hours and hard work they've put into the program to help us, be who we are today. So.
Well, I think so many times we kind of get caught up with the wins and losses and the X's and O's. We forget that, we're talking about 16, 17, sometimes 18-year-old kids, and for them to give that dedication and this time of the world, it says a lot for what they've been able to accomplish and what they've been doing this season.
It does. It really does. Like I said, they've been great in our program. They've given a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and they've been a significant part of our program. You look at lots of things other than just points and rebounds, and you can't do it without everyone. And just so appreciative for all they've done for us through the years.
Well, now moving forward at the task at hand, I guess, like you said, a playoff berth, in the near distant future for you, hopefully. You have one game left in the regular season schedule, and you kind of gear up with pretty much a week of practice to get you, set for that Mid-Eastern Conference tournament, 3 games in 5 days potentially if you do advance to the finals. What's kind of the mindset of the team right now? I know, a lot of different pieces. As you mentioned, those seniors, I think you have some contributions from a couple of juniors and then a freshman who's really been a standout for you as well.
Yeah, we do. We've talked about all season. We've got some young kids, and, we keep telling them, everybody's talking about next year. Well, we feel like we've got the ability and the capabilities to step up this year and to finish strong. We've certainly played some good basketball. We've played some inconsistent basketball. But, you can see it there. You've seen it on the floor. I see it in practice every day. So just trying to get it all together on the same page on the same night. Our young kids, Lexi Melville, Jensen Edwards, Angel, all 3 of those gals have got a bright future with us. And, we're just looking forward to continuing to work with them and then working, through the off season. Our sophomores and juniors as well. We've got some juniors next year that I'm hoping to see will step up for us next year. And Jada Malone, who's given us some good minutes this year, and Anna Ray Porcelli. So, we've got a good future. Going into Ashley's game, it's the next game on the schedule, so that's the one we're most focused on right now. Played one of our better games this season against them early on the first time around, so hoping that we can create some of that same consistency that we had in that game and some of that same giddy up that got us through that game and executed well.
Well, one of those things I saw at this past Friday's game against Hoggard was your freshman Jensen Edwards. She kind of took over that game offensively for you, and she's a tough player to stop when she gets going offensively. She
is, and she's able to create some for herself. Obviously, as you saw Friday night, we were having a hard time creating anything. But she was able to create some for herself, and she has that capability. We've got a couple other kids that have that capability. So, again, I just think I think time will take care of some of the inconsistencies that we have. I think confidence in growing up a little bit will take care of some of the inconsistencies that we've had. So yeah, we've certainly got a bright future. I think we've got a bright next couple of weeks if we can get it all together. So.
The Lady Bucks looking to make a push here in the final week of the regular season. 1 game left on their regular season schedule, and then they get to the Mid-Eastern Conference basketball tournament, which will be down at Brunswick Community College beginning on Monday of next week. Coach Tynes, always a pleasure. Looking for that consistency from the Lady Bucks here in the last week and a half of the regular season to the tournament.
We are, and thanks for having
me. Lady Bucks coach Sherry Tynes here on the Sports Roundtable. We'll continue to show right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Katz. Up next here in the lineup is New Hanover Wildcats coach Bertha Dixon-Wright. Coach, it's always a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you, Joe.
I know last time we talked here on stage, there was a little different circumstances for your Wildcats, a little slice of humble pie for your team over the last couple of weeks, but I think you've bounced back nicely here, heading kind of into the last few games of the regular season.
I hope so, yeah. It was a tough week for us. The good part is our kids, they knew we could have done better than what we did, and each day they had their own little huddle before we came out, and they tried to get things together, and it was just a tough week. I don't want to, blame it on anything. The teams we played, of course, Ashley and Hoggard, they were gunning for us. They came out, they played well, and we didn't play well, so it made a difference. So we go 2 months without losing a game, and then we lose 2 in 1 week, so it's tough.
Well, it's obviously tough for you to see that happen, and of course, fall from that top spot in the standings. But with that said, I think, like I mentioned, you bounced back a little bit here the last week. You've got to some big victories, and we'll get to the footage in a minute over your win against West Brunswick. First, I kind of have talked with all the coaches about this as we head kind of through the last week of the regular season and into the conference schedule, into the playoffs. We won't have too much time to talk here on the show much longer. You know, you have some seniors on your team that have showed some great leadership over the last number of years, obviously with Alex Simmons at the top of that list. Naija Waddell has also contributed to the program really over the last 2 years. Why don't you just share your perspective on those upperclassmen, what they've meant to you for a long, long time, really?
The good part about having upperclassmen is they've been through it. They look at the freshmen, they look at the sophomores, and then of course they look at the juniors, and you know what they're going through, they're able to talk to them when sometimes I don't. They do their best to lead in practice. They do their best to lead on the bus to games. They do their best to lead on the floor. They have been like two coaches when I'm not around. Two coaches sometimes when I'm around. But it has really, truly been great having them around. Watching them succeed this year has really been good. Everybody kind of, you know, thought we'd be on the downside this year because, you know, we lost about 65% of our offense last year. So they picked it up, and they're doing their best to get those freshmen, those sophomores, and the one junior to do the same. So it's been super having them.
Well, while Alex and Naija have kind of stepped up into that role as seniors do, you've also had some younger players as we go to the footage in their win against West Brunswick, of course. You have had a freshman that has really stood out in the last couple of games, at least the last week or so, in Omani Muhammad.
Yes.
And, you know, she had a big game against West Brunswick and continues to kind of grow into that role as a, you know, a big offensive threat for you.
Right. Amani knows we expect a lot from her. She had a sister that came through, and I think it's her goal to score as many or more points as her sister did. But she's in the weight room now, so hopefully she's getting a little stronger. The outside shot is going to fall a little better. She works hard. Learning, you know, it's a big step from middle school to high school, and I think each game out, it's been a learning process for her. But she doesn't quit. She doesn't have any quit in her. She's got a lot of fight, and we certainly look forward to having her, you know, on the team for the next 3 years to come.
Well, going back to you know, the game against West Brunswick, of course, another you know, Wildcat that has stepped up, Ayanna Cotton. I think she's at the free throw line right there. You know, she could shoot the rock from the outside. In that game against Ashley that you fell to the Screaming Eagles in, I thought she hit a couple of big three-pointers in that game that kind of kept you right in it until the end.
Right.
She's able, you know, she's been able to come on strong for you as well.
I thought Ayanna has improved on the defensive end as well as the offensive end. The only problem that we have with her on the offensive end, a lot of times we have to yell, shoot, instead of her, you know, being a little more aggressive and taking that shot. It's almost like she's afraid to shoot it, and several times she said, I don't want to miss. We don't want you to miss either. But, you know, I'd like to see her shoot the ball more. I think right now she's been shooting it anywhere from 4 to 6 times a game. She could easily shoot it 6 to 8 and wind up in double figures.
But you've had, you know, up and down the lineup, as you mentioned, kind of maybe, you know, going into the season, not too many teams thought you were going to do much this year. You go on that nice little win streak, you know, you drop 2 games in the same week, like you mentioned, and that really probably hurt a little bit the confidence. But I think, like you said, sometimes, you know, you lose those games late in the season after going on such a big run. It kind of gets your team maybe refocused at the task, and ultimately the task is to, you know, move on to the state playoffs and make a deep run.
It'll be good to go deep. It'll be good to play well and, you know, see what happens in the conference tournament. It'll be good to at least play one more game instead of getting knocked out in the first round of the state playoffs. It's just going to be good. And, you know, the kids have already started to writing their goals, what we want to do now. You know, the third part of the season is coming up, the conference tournament, and then the fourth, you know, part of the season is coming up. So they're writing goals now, and hopefully they'll get together and go. You know, I can write X's and O's all day long, but until they take them and make their mind up and go with it, you know, it's nothing to be said.
Well, you go with the conference tournament first. Last year, you clinched that conference championship in the tournament down at Brunswick Community College. You know, have a chance to make another run this year. Obviously, a couple more games to get geared up for that heading through this week. But going into next week's conference tourney, I think you got a good shot at making that run until and play on that last day. It's
going to be tough. You know, all the teams that we've seen have all gotten better. They've all changed their offensive scheme, so you can look at the tapes and see the 5 that they're playing, but they're also doing different things now. So we can't just show up and say, hey, we won this last year, we're here to win it again. We have to do everything twice as hard as we've been doing, and we know that, and it will be a struggle. And who knows? It's up for grabs. It's not a gimme.
Do you think that, when you gain some of that momentum, maybe win a couple games here this week and then start to build some of that confidence
I
again?
hope so.
You get hot at the right time and then you can make that push.
I hope so. We started off at Brunswick Community College. That's where we do our preseason scrimmage. Kids love going up there. It's not far to go. Plus, they love playing in the gym. So you never know. We may get hot 3 nights in a row. We don't know.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing how the Wildcats fare the final week of the regular season and then into next week's Mid-Eastern Conference basketball tournament, which will be held next Monday at Brunswick Community College. New Hanover Wildcats coach Vertha Dixon-Wright. Coach, it's always a pleasure, and
Thank you, Joe.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll take one last break here on the Sports Roundtable. We'll wrap things up right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. Just want to give a big thanks to coaches Vertha Dixon-Wright, Sherry Tynes, and Adrian Gale for stopping by the set today as we head through the final week of the regular season in high school basketball, gearing up for the Mid-Eastern Conference Tournament, which will be held down at Brunswick Community College next Monday. Don't forget, you can catch up and keep up to date with all of our high school athletics going on in the area at portcitydaily.com and tune into my radio show, The Sports Connection, at 6 p.m. on Mondays and 11 a.m. on Saturday mornings on 103.7 FM. To wrap things up today, we'll catch up just real quick with the Hoggard girls basketball team. Unfortunately, Coach Boubacar Al unable to make it to our show tonight. But with that said, the Hoggard Vikings are a couple of wins away from clinching their first conference title in 5 years. The Hoggard is red hot right now, 18-4 overall, 9-1 in conference on a 9-game winning streak with games this week against South Brunswick and West Brunswick, two teams that have struggled throughout the season. So Hoggard has high hopes heading into this final week of the regular season to clinch that first league title and a #1 seed in the Mid-Eastern Conference Tournament and eventually the 4A state playoffs. Hoggard, of course, led by Julia Bueller. She had 18 points the other night in a win over Laney. So as we head into crunch time for high school basketball, we'll keep up to date with all things going on at portcitydaily.com, and we'll be back next week to wrap things up on another edition of the Sports Roundtable. Until next time, I'm Joe Katz.